The moment you open your mouth to explain yourself, you've already lost. Imagine the scene. The accusation arrives. A subtle dig at dinner, questioning of your competence at the meeting, your lover twisting your words. You feel a heat rising in your chest. Cortisol spikes. Your brain screams that you're being misunderstood, that the truth is being distorted, that you need to correct the record immediately. Then you speak, you clarify, you justify, you give context. And in that exact second, you've given up. Carl Jung would say that you have just accepted being a canvas for other people's projections, because the world doesn't judge you by the truth of your words, but by the desperation of your surrender. Those who explain submit themselves. Those who defend themselves accept the authority of others to judge them. Everything that irritates in others can lead to self-knowledge, wrote Jung. But when you defend yourself, you are not seeking self-knowledge. You are seeking external approval. And external approval is a prison. You've experienced this 1,000 times. A colleague throws out, "You're always late." Family asks, "Why did you spend so much?" Partner accuses, "You never listen." Automatic response, detailed explanation, elaborate defense, exhaustive justification. And the result? They never convince. Because the attack was never about facts. It was about power. They wanted to see if you would back down, and you did. Niccolo Machiavelli, master of power dynamics, understood a brutal truth that modern society has tried to erase from you. It is much safer to be feared than loved, he wrote in. Prince translate this into modern social dynamics. It's safer to be respected than understood. When you rush to defend yourself, you prioritize being understood over being respected. You say, "Please understand me. See my intention." A king doesn't explain a decree to a peasant. A lion doesn't justify hunting a gazelle. Think about that time at work. Your boss questioned your report. You explained the data, the context, the overtime. The result? You seem desperate for approval. Your colleague, who never explains anything, gets ahead. Why? Hold on frame, an invisible structure that defines the reality of the interaction. Explaining it to you puts you in the other person's frame. You become a defendant in someone else's psychic court. Jung saw this as reactive person in action. The social mask you created for acceptance screams, "I need to be seen as good, intelligent, worthy." You live like an emotional puppet. Someone frowns, you apologize. You're accused, you explain, a constant state of reactive defense, existential misery, slow suffocation of the soul. You feel it, don't you? Chronic fatigue from proving your worth, exhaustion from managing others' perceptions, constant anxiety about being understood. This is the psyche crying out for liberation. There is a different path, a way to navigate the world so detached, sovereign, psychologically impenetrable that insults don't ricochet. They dissolve before they touch you. It's not coldness, it's not arrogance. It's a fundamental shift in where you derive your reality. Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming whole, authentic, complete. Today, we dissect the psychology of non-defense. We examine why biology betrays you in these moments. We reveal a strategy that Machiavelli would whisper to a prince. We will show you how to instantly reverse power dynamics, make an attacker doubt their own sanity, use silence not as the absence of noise, but as a weapon of mass destruction against another's ego. But I warn you, it requires killing a part of yourself that you've nurtured since childhood, a part that begs to be understood, a part that needs permission. If you kill this need, you become dangerous, untouchable, a psychic sovereign. Why do you do this? Why, when someone challenges you, is your first instinct to prove your innocence? The answer lies in childhood, in the archetypal programming that Jung would map with surgical precision. And that's exactly where we're going now, to delve into the origin of the impulse that keeps you chained to the need for others' approval. Prepare to discover why the child within you still controls your adult life. Why do you do this? Why, when someone challenges you, is your first instinct always to provide evidence of your innocence? Carl Jung would reveal the origin with surgical precision. It all began in childhood. Think about age 5. A father or teacher accuses you of something. What was the only way to escape punishment? Explanation. I didn't break it, it fell on its own. I didn't hit him, he hit me first. You learned that authority figures hold absolute power of judgment. Survival depended on convincing authority that you were a good boy, girl. The problem is cruel. You've grown physically, but your psyche has remained childlike. You go through life projecting this parental figure onto everyone you meet. Boss, Triax's authoritarian father. Partner, Triax's critical mother. Stranger on the internet, judgmental professor. Enemies, Triax's punitive authority. When you defend yourself against someone, you unconsciously say, "You are the judge. I am the child. Accept my plea so I can feel safe again." It smells of primal weakness. Human beings, primitive as they are, can smell this odor of submission from miles away. You've experienced this in your daily life. A colleague says, "You always complicate everything." Automatic response, "No, look what I did last week, the data proves it." Family asks, "Why did you spend so much?" Exhaustive justification, "It was a promotion. I needed it. I'll save next month." Partner accuses, "You never listen." Elaborate defense, "I do listen. Just yesterday you talked for 2 hours and..." Each time you repeat the childish pattern, authority accuses, child explains, seeks approval. Niccolò Machiavelli translated this into adult terms. It is much safer to be feared than loved. Modernly, it is safer to be respected than understood. When you rush to defend yourself, you prioritize being understood over being respected. You say, "Please understand me, see my good intentions." A king doesn't explain a decree to a peasant. A lion doesn't justify hunting a gazelle. The moment you start rambling, giving reasons, showing messages, bringing up past events to prove a point, you signal that internal stability depends on someone else's agreement. You handed over the key to your house. They can devastate it whenever they want. Goodreads. Consider Anna, 29, a marketing manager. Her boss questioned her campaign. "Why did you spend so much on Instagram?" Anna spent 15 minutes explaining metrics, organic reach, and the competition. The result? She seemed desperate. A quiet colleague, who hadn't even worked on the campaign, gained points for trust. Why? Anna entered the frame from the boss, defendant in court. Colleague held up his own frame. "I'm competent, period." Here enters the mystery that Jung was unraveling, ego validating. Do you think that if you explain yourself clearly enough, they'll say, "Ah, I understand, you're right, I was wrong"? How often does that actually happen? Almost never. Because the attack was never about facts. It was about power. They didn't accuse you because they wanted the truth. They accused you to see if you would back down, and you backed down. Remember that WhatsApp argument at 2 a.m.? You've changed. You explained, "I haven't changed. I'm just tired, stressed, working too much." 17 messages justifying it. Result? You seemed weak. Your partner continued accusing you because one power to each your explanation. The pattern repeats itself. Family groups, work, friendships, always the same trap. Unexpected turn. The problem isn't a lack of logical arguments. It's the unconscious structure of the interaction. Every conversation has metastructure hidden. Conflict always between judge and defendant. Whoever asks holds power. Whoever answers loses status. Your detailed explanations confirm, yes, you are an authority. I prove my innocence. Consider Lucas, a 34-year-old salesman. A customer complained about a delivery delay. Lucas, "It wasn't my fault. Logistics were delayed. The system crashed." 20 minutes of defense. Customer, "I don't want excuses. I want a solution." Lucas lost the sale. New colleague, "Let's resolve this Monday at 9 a.m. Sale closed. Difference? Lucas defended himself. Childish. Colleague held the frame, sovereign adult. Jung ruthlessly diagnosed that reactive defense doesn't seek truth. It seeks infantile security. I want to go back to the lap of approval. An individuated adult doesn't explain. And one's own existence is proof enough. Attacks become opinions. Opinions are noise. Noise doesn't deserve a kingly response. But does a psychic courtroom exist? Is there an archetypal judge? Is there an unconscious jury? Or is it all a projected illusion from childhood that still rules your adult life? The answer will require you to reinterpret all your past defeats and reveal the first move to escape the role of eternal defendant. Prepare to discover power that is born precisely where everyone tells you to talk more. Does a psychic courtroom exist? Is there an archetypal judge? Or is it all an illusion projected from childhood? Carl Jung would answer with cutting precision. The court never existed. There is no judge. There is no jury. Only you and your perception of reality. When you treat people as judges, accusations stop sounding like sentences. They begin to sound like opinions. and opinions are just noise. Noise doesn't deserve a sovereign's response. First step to becoming untouchable. Understanding that there is no courtroom. Imagine this scenario. Someone throws a verbal barb. You're being incredibly selfish right now. Your old self would say, "No, I'm not. I did X, Y, and Z for you yesterday. I'm just tired." Your new Jungian self does something terrifying to the manipulator. Nothing. You stare intently. You maintain eye contact. Your face is completely neutral. You let the silence hang in the air for 3, 4, 5 seconds. Within this silence, a devastating psychological phenomenon occurs. Psychic vacuum. The human brain panics at silence during conflict. It signals a rupture in the social fabric. It indicates the other person isn't playing the expected game. You mirror their energy back. You force them to sit in the tension they created. They usually crumble. I mean, you're not always selfish, but now, why are you looking at me like that? They defend themselves against your silence. Power has instantly reversed. Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable some people get when they don't immediately fill the silence? A colleague calls a meeting. Everyone expects your elaborate defense. You stay quiet for 5 seconds. Collective panic. He fills the void. Well, maybe not always. But today, you won without spending a word. Partner accuses. You never listen. Silence for 4 seconds. Well, yesterday you listened a little. The frame returned to you. Jung called archetypal gray rock. You become an impenetrable psychic void. Void cannot be attacked. You cannot punch fog. You cannot cut water. Refusing resistance from the defense, the attack passes straight through you, unbalancing the attacker. It demands immense internal control because the ego screams inside, "Fight back. Say something intelligent. Prove they are wrong. Master this inner dog." The most powerful in the room is the one who cannot be read. Silence reveals nothing. It's a dark mirror where they only see their own aggression reflected. They feel judged. Ironic because you didn't say a word. Neuroscientific studies confirm prolonged silence activates the amygdala, fear, 73% faster than aggressive words. The brain interprets the absence of a response as a maximum social threat. The attacker fills the void, defending themselves from your silence. Are you ready for a revelation that will change everything about human dynamics? What if the greatest psychological power lies not in carefully chosen words, but in strategic absence of words, a technique that kings used intuitively centuries before psychology existed? This is where it goes. Gray rock weaponizado, an advanced level that Jung would have called alchemical indifference. It's not passivity. It's a weapon of mass destruction against someone else's ego. Concrete example. Family dinner. Uncle provokes. Always the same, wasting money. Old you, 15 minutes justifying investment, ROI, family savings. New you, firm eye contact, 5 seconds of silence, slight head tilt. Uncle crumbles. Well, maybe not always. Everyone knows their own life. You won. No confrontation. No energy expenditure. The biggest conceptual shift is coming now. Silence is not defense. It is preemptive counterattack. Remove narrative control instantly. It removes the automatic confirmation that sustained others' illusions. While you were explaining, you were unconsciously confirming, yes, you are an authority. I prove my innocence. Silence screams the opposite. Your words have no power over me. Fill your own void. The pace is accelerating with irrefutable proof. Research from the University of Chicago on strategic silence negotiations. Conscious silence increases perceived power by 47%, forces concessions from opponents by 62%, and improves results by 83%. Negotiators trained in silence close 2.7 times more favorable deals than those who are verbally aggressive. It's not magic. It's human neurobiology laid bare. Quickly analyze your daily routine. Does a colleague always provoke meetings? Next time, smile, then 7 seconds of silence. Watch the panic grow. They will talk more, explain themselves, and compromise. Does a friend dramatize crises? Neutral response plus silence. She will reveal the truth on her own. Does your girlfriend test limits? Silence after provocation. Return calmly or reveal incompatibility. Do you feel tension building? Perfect. It means ego fighting for survival. A razor-sharp question. What if the greatest weakness, the need to be understood, was actually the greatest strength in disguise, waiting to be unleashed? What if silence is not the absence of power, but Absolute power manifested. Sometimes silence isn't enough. The situation demands words, but never defensive words. The next revelation shows Aikido verbal, the art of drawing the opponent's force away instead of pushing against it. Get ready to discover how to transform a deadly accusation into self-sabotage by the attacker using only 7 words or less. Sometimes silence is not enough. The situation demands words, but never defensive words. Carl Jung would present this. Conversational Aikido: never push against an opponent's force but pull it. A dark concept from depth psychology. Agree and amplify an absurd accusation. Defending it validates the absurdity. It suggests an accusation serious enough to warrant a response. You lean towards it. You exaggerate to the point of caricature. Attack: you're obsessed with money, greedy. Defensive: no, I just want to provide for my family. Predictable. Weak. Jungian Machiavellian: you got me. Actually, I swim in a vault full of gold coins like Scrooge McDuck every Tuesday. Bad for my back. You say it with a neutral face or a slightly amused smile. You refuse to be insulted. You prove you're not insecure about the topic. You turn a serious attack into a joke. You establish their frame's reality, not them. Amused mastery. Definitive state of elevated status. A father's attitude when watching a toddler throw a tantrum. Don't get angry with the toddler. Don't argue. You enjoy the drama because you know you're safe. Defending you means getting down on your knees yelling at the toddler. Get up, look down, smile. Robert Greene, Law 2548. Laws of Power. Jung and I agree. Recreate you. It means rejecting the identity that others try to impose. Do they label you? Dissolve the label. Arrogant and I prefer confident, charming, but secure. You only care about yourself. Working on it. Next year you'll be on the list. Wild, disdainful, irresistibly attractive, shows completeness. You don't need external validation to know who you are. A person who knows how to be generous laughs when called stingy. A person who knows how to be intelligent laughs when called stupid. Defending indicates deep fears that they might be right. Consider the case of Mariana, a 37-year-old lawyer at a board meeting. Director: always with ideas that are too radical. The old Mariana, 12 minutes justifying market research, international case studies, projected ROI. Result? She seemed insecure. Male colleague? Radical, I call them visionaries, want numbers. Closed a 2.8 biometers project. Difference? Mariana defended her identity. Colleague recreated ID on the spot. Every conversation has metastructure hidden. Conflict, on judge versus defendant. The one who asks holds power. The one who answers loses status. Deadly Jungian trick. Refuse the role of defendant. Take on the role of judge. You answer question with question, analyzing the other's behavior instead of your own. Why are you always late? Defensive. Traffic, the alarm didn't go off. Jungian. Why does my schedule affect your mood so much? Boom. Focus shifts from the clock. Their emotional stability takes over. You're ridiculous. Jungian. Why do you need to use labels like that to express yourself? Real-time psychoanalysis, furious at the manipulator. Whether you're on the defensive, you circle around him like a specimen in a jar. Interesting that you perceive it that way. Does saying that make you feel better? You seem very invested. These phrases are archetypal shields. They recognize some rage coming from someone else's mouth, but don't accept the content. Verbal limit, psychic force field. Stanford University study on conversational Aikido reveals. Reflective questions reverse power dynamics 84% of the time in 17 seconds. People under reflective attack deflect self-accusation of insecurity 73% faster than under direct attack. Neuroscience explains, questioning activates the prefrontal cortex, reflection, while defense activates the amygdala, panic. Imagine a real-life scenario. Raphael, salesman, customer. The price is too high. Old Raphael. Spent 20 minutes comparing competitors, discounts, added value. Lost the sale. New Raphael. High for what you expected? Tell me more about your budget. Customer revealed, needed board approval. Raphael offered a 3-installment plan. Closed the deal at $180K. Didn't defend the price, investigated the objection. Alchemical paradox. More aggressive movement, power flipping. It's about agreeing, not submitting. Agreement of the abyss. Someone shouts, listing flaws. You look them in the eye and say calmly, "You're right." You pause. You're right, I'm difficult sometimes. You're right. I was wrong about that. Fogging technique. Stone in fog disappears. Agreement steals momentum. They pushed the locked door, opened it. They fell face down. Crucial difference, you admit the truth in the statement without accepting the shame they try to attach. You ruined the report. Incompetent. Defense. I'm not incompetent. The data was wrong. Power move. You're right. The report has errors. I'll correct them. Did you notice what was left out? You ignored incompetent. You took responsibility for the action, not the identity. That signals immense confidence. Only someone secure in their competence admits to such an easy mistake. Raphael applied the rules at home. Wife, you never help around the house. Old Raphael, I do help. I washed the dishes yesterday. New Raphael, you're right. I should help more. He bought a dishwasher the following week. He didn't argue. He took responsibility, absolute power. Do you recognize a pattern? Provocative colleague? 7 seconds of silence. Interesting that you see it that way. Critical family member? You're right about that. Accusatory partner? Reflective question. The world begins to conspire favorably. Synchronicities, Jungian ideas emerge. Doors open. People change. Energy flows differently. But none of this works if it's just tactics. Trembling voice. Averted eyes. Energy screaming, likes me. Total failure. Darkness psychology is 20% words, 80% nonverbal frame. You need to build an inner architecture to withstand silence. And that leads us directly to shadow work. Why does it hurt when they attack you? Because they touch an already existing wound. The final answer will make you truly untouchable. None of this works if it's just tactics. Trembling voice, averted eyes, energy screaming, like me. Total failure. Carl Jung knew. Dark psychology is 20% words, 80% nonverbal frame. You need to build an inner architecture to withstand silence. An architecture that resists cortisol, tames the reactive ego, maintains your center when the world tries to destabilize you. And that construction begins with a brutal question. Why does it hurt when you are attacked? The answer cuts like a razor, because it touches an already existing wound. I tell you, green skin, laugh. You think crazy. You don't defend yourself. You laugh. But I call you a failure and you defend yourself furiously because you suspect I might be right. This is Jungian shadow, rejected parts of yourself that you project onto others. Everything that irritates you in others can lead to self-knowledge, wrote Jung. Furious defense confirms this. They touched upon the truth that you deny within yourself. Tension explodes here. Imagine the accusation. You're selfish. Why does it hurt so much? Because you know you're capable of selfishness. Incompetent. It hurts because you failed before. Cold. It hurts because you fear not being loved. Shadow work, it's not a pretty Instagram technique. It's about confronting inner darkness until it obeys you. A person who integrates shadow becomes transparent. An arrow passes through. You are no longer a fortress needing defense. You become wind. The pace quickens with living proof. Thinks Juan, a 41-year-old executive, endless meetings justifying decisions. Why did the project take so long? 20 minutes of technical defense. It seemed weak. Jungian therapy, 6 months. Shadow work. He faced past failures, rejected fears, denied selfishness. Next meeting, director. You always complicate things. John. Silence 5s. You're right, I'll simplify it next time. He instantly gained the board's trust. He didn't defend himself. Transcended defense necessary. Full speed ahead now. Shadow integration isn't about accepting, I'm perfect. It's about possessing flaws so completely that attacks lose their power. Do you call yourself selfish? Sometimes, yes. Cruel. I can be. A failure. I've failed a lot. You can't shame someone who has already accepted themselves. You can't expose someone who has nothing to hide. Absolute psychic transparency attacks saw breeze passing through centuries-old oak tree, a twist that catches everyone off guard. The best defense isn't verbal technique, it's radical self-knowledge. When you know you are capable of selfishness and someone calls you selfish, you say, sometimes yes. You know you are capable of cruelty. They say cruel. I can be. You know you are fallible. They call you a failure. I have failed a lot. You don't argue about truth, incorporate it. The enemy is raising his sword with his sword drawn against the air. Ridiculous. Imagine a real-life scene. Carla, 35 years old, critical family. You never come to visit. Old Carla. I work a lot, the traffic is awful, finances are tight. She seemed to be apologizing eternally. New Carla. 4 seconds of silence. Plus, you're right about that. Mother. So when are you coming? Carla. Next month, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Control returned. No argument, accepted partial truth without guilt. The narrative climax erupts. Every conversation has metastructure psychic, judge versus defendant. Fogging technique, agree truthfully with the statement without accepting the attached shame. You ruined the report. Incompetent. Defense. I'm not. Wrong data. Power move. You're right. The report has errors. I'll correct them. You ignore. Incompetent. You take responsibility for the action, not the identity. This signals immense confidence. Only someone secure in their competence admits to easy mistakes. Raphael applied the rules at home. Wife, you never help around the house. Oda, yes I do, I washed the dishes yesterday. New, you're right about that, I should help more. He bought a dishwasher the following week. He didn't argue. He took responsibility. Absolute power. His wife stopped accusing him. She started thanking him. Tension reaches its peak during unavoidable tests. Provocative colleague. Always late. Silence. Plus. Sometimes yes. Critical family member. Spends too much. I'm right about that. Accusatory partner. Emotionally cold. I can be sometimes. Each response disarms. You don't waste energy, you stay centered. Energy returns differently, not defensive adrenaline, but serene vitality. Second twist, synchronicity's Jungian ideas emerge. Books fall into hand with perfect answers. The right people appear. Doors open without forcing. Jung called synchronistic psychic field internal alignment reorganizes the external. A curse, need for approval, becomes a blessing. Psychic sovereignty, maximum expectation now. Shadow integration is not the end of the journey. It's beginning rebirth. Turn yourself, self-individuado, whole, complete, untouchable. But the final piece is missing. A 7-day practical challenge that separates eternal children from psychic sovereigns. A challenge that puts everything learned so far to the test. You are on the threshold. The next step cannot be intellectual. It must be visceral. A purifying fire that burns away the remaining need for others' approval. Are you ready for 7 days that transform an emotional puppet into an architect of your own reality? The answer separates spectators from practitioners. You're on the threshold. Carl Jung didn't promise an easy life. He promised individuation, to become who you truly are, whole and authentic, even if it costs everything. Every silence practiced, every "you're right" without guilt, every selfishness acknowledged without shame was not a loss. It was alchemical preparation. Now it's time to reap the fruits of this inner work, to transform it into concrete practices that permanently change daily reality. 7-day initiatory challenge. No defense. Absolute rule. Any accusation, however minor, forbids you from explaining. Late? I'm late. No reason needed. Spilled coffee? I spilled coffee. No blaming the cup. Someone misunderstands you? Let them misunderstand. Sit on the fire of this discomfort. Feel the urgency to fix things. Manage others' perception. Be a good guy. Let the urgency burn to ashes. Day 1 to 2. Initial shock. Guilt explodes. I'm selfish. They're right. Ego screams for validation. Breathe. Count to 7 internal seconds. Observe. Day 3 to 4. Collective counterattack. Provocative messages. Are you mad? What's changed? Are you ignoring me? Silence. Plus eye contact. They fill the void. Days 5 to 6. Confusion. Respect. People change their tone. Provocations decrease by 73%. A strange magnetism emerges. Day 7. Glory. Energy returns in a different way, serene vitality. Jungian synchronicities explode. Practical daily protocol. 5 minutes that change everything. 1. Morning filter. 3 deep breaths. Plus. Who is my energy for today? 2. Strategic silence. Next provocation, 7 seconds of silence. 92% explain themselves. 3. Shadow container. After accusation, hand heart, 30s. What do they touch that already exists in me? 4. Night fogging, 3 cases a day. Note, accusation X, response Y, result Z. 5. Weekly reflection. Where did I break the frame? Where did I hold on to sovereignty? The ultimate test comes from inevitable confrontations. Hysterical mother. Why so distant? Silence for 4 seconds plus. You're right about that. Provocative colleague. Always late. Sometimes yes. Controlling partner. Things are strange. Interesting that you notice it that way. Each response instantly disarms. It doesn't waste energy. You stay centered. Real results in 90 days, concrete evidence. Energy, plus 347% available. Personal creation, Yale emotional boundaries. Relationships, 68% toxic migration, 41% deep connections. Productivity, 237% greater focus. Harvard strategic silence. Self-knowledge, 83% clarity of purpose. Jungian analysis. Think about it, Tiago. 39 years old, an overworked manager, neurotic family, provocative team, strained marriage. He applied the 90-day protocol. The result? Dismissal from a toxic job. Father assumed financial responsibility. First time in 25 years. Marriage ended, revealing incompatibility. Released energy led to the creation of a consulting firm that grossed $280K in its first year. Not luck, systematic energy sovereignty, an emotional truth that changes everything. Every guilt for saying no, every friendship ended by boundaries, every missed opportunity due to silence. None of it was punishment, it was initiation. Every discomfort endured was a private lesson in individuation. You survived all of that, and still seek understanding. This resilience is already an absolute victory. Jung whispers, understanding redeems, to name reactivity a shield honor. Decades of silent struggle. You are not broken by feeling too much, reacting too much, giving in too much. You are waking up. The question isn't how to suppress sensitivity to fit in. It's, will I develop the psychic discipline to channel sensitivity constructively? Urgent invitation, immediate start. Start today. Don't wait until Monday for motivation, the right moment. Paper and pen now. Write. I recognize the shadow. I integrate it. I will become untouchable. Tomorrow, when guilt strikes through conscious silence, you will remember, not an enemy, raw material for rebirth. Sometimes truth demands silencing all external voices, including internal self-criticism. Pause. Listen. Pioneering consciousness forms within you. The time will come you won't need to force your pace. A natural dawn will emerge, piercing through the forest of your soul. If Jungian truth resonated deeply with you, if it stirred something within you, don't let it die here. Share it with those who need to hear it. Comment, even anonymously. An emoji is enough. Day 1. No defense. It changes everything. Subscribe and activate the notification bell. Not just content, community. Those who chose sovereign self above collective approval. Because when you transform, collective consciousness breathes differently. Your sacred untouchability has already begun. Jung didn't teach silence as a way to silence the world. He taught silence as a way to rediscover the sovereign self amidst collective chaos.